Welcome back to Arifureta Anime Review, episode number 35. This is actually the first one I reviewed for this series after Comic-Con because I met Shia's voice actress. Yes, I told her I really enjoyed the series, and the fact that the series is up to adapting this book. When I told Amanda Lee about it, she was actually surprised to hear about that far in the series. Yes, book 10 out of 14. And yes, I even brought it up to her about when people think of the series, the first thing you think of is Haijima's taking a rod up Teal's rear end. And she's like, yeah, that's definitely true. That happened like one scene like late in season 1. So, let's be on this. So for this particular episode, this is up in chapter 3, and it goes most of chapter 3. It skips over the first bit here, where it talks about basically the whole episode is focused on the last character on the test, which is Kuki. Yes, the one who thinks of himself as a hero, and he's the primary focus of the episode. Personality-wise, when you see him later on in the episode, he's very similar to a little bit what he was back in early season 1. And that is actually not the fault of the anime for that particular plot point. That is actually the light novel's fault for doing that, because we're getting close to finish. So we're basically building up to the very end of the series with this particular book here. So a lot of the episodes basically Kuki finding his counterpart. Also, apparently the creature, the dark version itself, found out the fact that Shizu, where she has feelings for Hajime. I'm thinking like, wait a minute, how the heck did he find out about that? And his reaction he doesn't seem surprised, because, and somehow he convinces him the fact that apparently Hajime is stealing not only his Norikari, but also Shizu as well. Like, he's gonna steal all the girl. The way that there's not much basically to steal all the girls per se. They actually trimmed out a lot of dialogue in this episode. Mostly that was cut from this episode. Lots of dialogue, because they only have a 23-minute runtime. And the way the light now presents it is that what happens after he fights him for a while, and then succumbs to him because his dark self is convinced that Hajime is the bad guy, and then just by sheer coincidence, here's Hajime arriving in his room with Shizu carrying piggyback style, who's fast asleep, and of course starts attacking him. She of course gets off, and by the way, this happens roughly about halfway through the chapter, this particular scene. If you're really curious, by the way, the name of the episode is also the title of the third is also the title of chapter 3, What Makes a Hero. In case you're curious, though, this chapter is exactly 50 pages. Well, actually, it's 60 pages. Which, no surprise there. Like, if you're curious, like, how far into the chapter is, Kuki fighting Hajime? Like, how far into it? If you're curious, roughly 15 pages, roughly 14 pages in the chapter, which is just part way through it. That's when they start fighting. And of course, he draws many attacks on him. Of course, Shizu battles dark counterpart, and then she gets knocked out. Kakui, he gets merged with his dark counterpart, so he gets 2 swords. I'm like, that's interesting. So then of course, everybody else shows up completing their test. And Kari actually kind of failed her test. Well, that's because you and Shia decided to bicker about sexual stuff. Though she ended up killing her counterpart. It says she failed, but yeah, she killed the darkest version of herself, which is interesting. Yep. And by the way, how does Hajime deal with dark stuff? Well, he basically is fighting him. He blocked out his moves. He basically and then he proceeded to tie him up and then fire a freaking bazooka at him which doesn't kill him. Doesn't even phase him at all. Basically, even shoots out his shoulder armor he has. He shoots him multiple times, but doesn't kill him. Because he does point out, though, if he does kill him, Kari and Cheese will be very sad. Well, in the book, he said, basically, that those two be sad. In the anime, they had he basically said his childhood friends be sad. Not particular. And, of course, also, one thing also, the fact that Koki did is that he mentioned you. He's like, how dare you mention my woman? Yeah, he got very angry about that. And then after the darkness is subsided, then he proceeds to sock him, basically a big haymaker to the face. Leave a big bruise on his cheek. Of course, he heals him up basically and of course apparently his soul is broken here. So he heals him up basically so he's still alive. And of course, Ryu, basically Biboka, he basically ends up carrying him. So then of course basically they walk down some steps, they walk through a teleportation gate, and they get teleported in from a palace and in the episode. Yeah, the episode was good, but it felt like basically revisiting it. When you see this fight between Hajime and Kuki, it's like this is probably the anime apologizing for not giving us this fight back in season 1. Because in the original book 4, the scene basically was presented way differently. Because in that book, he was held back by Shizu and didn't do anything at all. In the book itself, basically, Hajime defeated using non-lethal methods because he knew basically if he killed him, that Corey basically very, very mad at him for it. And, well, given the fact that she probably cares about him, probably not in love with him per se, like he is Hajime. Of course, he also believes it where somehow all the girls, even the other two, are brainwashed by Hajime. And Hajime's like, you're full of bullcrap. I need to beat the crap out of you in order to stop you. And Shizu basically tries to convince his dark counterpart. That doesn't work. Kari ends up healing him. And, well, they arrive at the palace. Mentioning, I think, one of the characters from Vinar, I think his name is. I think it's Vinar Shini, I think it is. Vinari Shini, I think it was. Yeah. Oh, and in case you're curious though, was he featured in that crossover between a Free and Free Zero? No, he was not featured at all. As for why he wasn't featured, well, because he was not in the story. That was simply the reason for it. Yeah. In case you're curious, though, he does appear in book 3, but he does not appear on the cover. Yeah. Yeah, he mostly appears in illustration. The thing about the Arifureta series is that the light novel series does not feature any of the male characters and covers. The manga does, well, mostly put one of the spin-off books does. Yes. Yes. The one called I Heart Isekai. That one is the one that features Hajime in the covers. And, with exception of the last one. Actually, yeah, he's featured in all the covers for that one. So thinking, okay, what about the main manga series? For for Freya. Let's see. The first two he is. Volume 3, no. 4, no. The cover's okay, so then he returns in Volume 6. And then you'll see him again until the cover of Volume 7. Actually, 10, 11. And that's it. Yeah, very few. I think the manga series might be over. I think so, yes, given the fact the last chapter was released like a month ago. It's possible, but I don't have a confirmation about that. And those of you curious, though, what about the prequel series? Did Freya Zero ever feature any of the male characters from the series in the covers? The answer is no. They never did. As for the reason for it, I have no idea. How about the manga adaptation? Volume 2 did feature Oscar. Volume 3 featured Nars. And here's the weird thing about that adaptation. I read the whole thing for it. For some reason, the light novel, the manga adaptation for Freya Zero, they decided not to finish adapting the main series. They adapted roughly halfway through the series. And then they just stopped. Yes. For some strange reason, they only adapted the first 3 out of, get this, like 6 books. Reason why? I don't know why. And yes, I do know that Volume 14 is supposed to come out soon. Don't know when. I heard the release date of this year, possibly in June. But I don't have confirmation about that. I hope it's basically like that. Yes. Which I hope in the reading feature, because basically I would love to finish reading this series. But in the case of when, I don't know yet. Oh, a little fun fact about basically about Volume 12 of the series, which was 2 books after this one. For some strange reason, this book took almost 2 years to come out here. Yeah, this book got delayed several times. Seven Seas Entertainment delayed the release of this book many times. Though in the case of the final volume, that was released roughly 6 months later. Actually, 7 months later, but at least it came out. Yeah. But I will basically get my hands on Volume 14 if you jump by that. So, that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit this like button. Next up is going to be Headhunted to Another World. Okay, next go. Bye.